My sister claimed I had given her my late husband's truck, then the mechanic found what she left inside. My sister Donna arrived at my house with a spare key and drove away in William's old pickup before I had even finished grieving him. She said he had promised it to her years ago. He told me I could have it when the time came, she said, as if repeating it loudly enough would make it true. I wanted to believe she would not lie about a man we both loved. Then the mechanic called after servicing the truck. He had found a sealed envelope tucked behind the glove compartment, exactly where William used to hide important papers. Inside was a handwritten note in William's unmistakable handwriting and a record of every repair, payment, and decision he had made about. Subscribe to Truth and Dignity Stories and tell me in the comments. If a family member took something precious while you were grieving, would you confront them immediately or gather the truth first? The morning Donna took William's truck, I was still wearing the black cardigan I had worn to his funeral. I remember that detail because I had slept in it. I had not meant to. I had simply come home after the service, sat down in William's old recliner, and stared at the empty place by the front window where he used to set his coffee mug. At some point, exhaustion must have pulled me under. When I woke up, the house was gray with early morning light, and I had a crease from the armrest pressed into my cheek. For 43 years, William and I had been the kind of people who solved things before they became emergencies. If the furnace made a strange sound, William listened to it. If the gutter loosened after a storm, he climbed the ladder before breakfast. If a neighbor needed a ride to the pharmacy, he went without making it sound like a favor. And if I told him I was worried about money, he would take my hand across the kitchen table and say, "Then we make a plan. Becky, that's what we do." That old truck had been part of every plan we ever made. It was a faded blue 2003 Ford F-150. With a dent near the back wheel from the year William backed into our trash cans during a snowstorm. The heater worked only when it felt like it. The passenger door stuck in humid weather. And the radio had one volume, too loud. But that truck had carried lumber for the back porch William built with his own hands. It had hauled boxes when I retired from the Willow Creek Library. It had taken us to flea markets, church suppers, emergency room visits, and every hardware store within 30 miles. The year I was diagnosed with breast cancer, William drove that truck through 3 counties in 1 week because he was determined to find the peach cobbler I liked from a little bakery near Dayton. He never found the cobbler, but he came home with 6 grocery store pies, a bouquet of daisy, and a grin that made me laugh even when I was too tired to sit up straight. That was William. He could make an old truck feel like a promise that we would get through something. So when Donna stood in my kitchen 3 days after his funeral, holding the spare key he had once trusted her with, I did not understand what was happening at first. She was wearing a cream-colored coat and dark sunglasses. Though the sky outside was cloudy, her purse was tucked beneath her arm. Her mouth had that tight little smile she wore when she had already decided something and expected everyone else to catch up. "I came for the truck," she said. I was at the counter, sorting thank you cards from people who had brought casseroles, flowers, and sympathy notes. I looked at her, then at the key in her hand. "The truck?" Donna sighed as though I had made this difficult. "Rebecca, please. William told me years ago that I could have it when the time came." For a second, I thought she meant she wanted to borrow it. Donna's sedan had been in and out of the shop for months. She worked part-time at a dental office across town, and she had complained more than once that the repairs were eating into her savings. I knew she had been struggling since her divorce. I knew she was embarrassed about it. So I said, "If you need to use it for a few days, I'm sure we can work something out." Her expression changed. Not dramatically. Donna had always been careful with her expressions, but something cold slid behind her eyes. "I don't need to borrow it," she said. "William gave it to me." I put down the stack of cards. Donna. I don't remember him saying that. He didn't have to say it in front of you. The room became very quiet. There are moments when a sentence lands so hard that you can almost hear the silence around it. I could hear the refrigerator motor humming. I could hear rain ticking against the kitchen window. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and uneven. Donna looked at the keys hanging from the wooden board near the pantry. William knew I needed dependable transportation. She continued. He told me last summer, after my car broke down outside Columbus. He said, when I'm done with this old thing, it's yours. When he's done with it isn't the same as when he dies. I did not raise my voice. I was too tired to raise it. But Donna's face hardened anyway. Don't make me feel guilty for accepting something he wanted me to have. That sentence troubled me more than I knew how to explain, because it was not grief in her voice. It was preparation. I looked at the driveway through the rain-streaked window. The truck sat beneath the oak tree, its blue paint dull in the wet light. William's work gloves were still on the dashboard. His old canvas jacket was folded behind the driver's seat. Nothing about it looked like an inheritance. It looked like my husband had just gone inside to wash his hands. Donna, I said quietly. I can't decide this today. You don't have to decide it. It was already decided. Then she walked past me. I followed her into the mudroom, stunned enough that I did not stop her quickly enough. She opened the back door, crossed the porch, and got into the driver's seat as if she had every right in the world. I stood there in my black cardigan and house slippers while the engine turned over. That familiar low rumble hit me right in the chest. Donna rolled down the window. I'll text you when I get home, she said. And then she drove away. She did not ask. She did not hug me. She did not even look back. For the next hour, I sat at my kitchen table with both hands wrapped around a cold cup of coffee, trying to make sense of what had happened. Part of me wanted to call the police. Another part of me could already hear the questions. Did she have a key? Yes. Did your husband ever tell her she could use the truck? Probably. At some point. Do you have proof that she intended to steal it? No. And the deepest, weakest part of me whispered something worse. Maybe Donna was telling the truth. Maybe William had made a promise in some casual moment and forgotten to mention it to me. He had always been generous with family. He had helped Donna move apartments after her divorce. He had replaced her leaking water heater one winter. He had paid for repairs on her car once when she was between jobs. William saw people in trouble and reached for his wallet before they could ask. But generosity had never meant surrender. And William was particular about the truck. He kept every receipt in a little metal box in his workshop. He wrote the mileage of every oil change on a notepad tucked into the center console. When he replaced the brake pads, he saved the old invoice, the parts list, and a note about the mechanic who had done the work. You take care of what takes care of you, he used to say. That truck was not just a vehicle to him. It was an asset, a tool, a piece of the life we had built together. By noon, I called Donna. She did not answer. I called again an hour later. This time, she picked up and sounded irritated. What? Rebecca, I need you to bring the truck back. There was a pause. Why? Because it belongs to me. No, she said. It belonged to William. And William gave it to me. He was my husband. And he was my brother. The words were sharp enough to make me pull the phone away from my ear. For a moment, I looked at the framed photograph on the mantel across the room. It was from our 25th anniversary. William had his arm around my shoulders. Donna stood on his other side, smiling wide, her hand resting on his forearm. We had been family, or I had thought we were. I'm not trying to fight with you, I said. I'm asking you to return it until we sort this out. There is nothing to sort out. Then why are you so afraid to bring it back? Her breathing changed. Not much. Just enough. I'm not afraid of anything. Then bring it back. Donna was quiet for several seconds. When she spoke again, her tone was softer, but it did not feel kinder. You're grieving, Rebecca. You're not thinking clearly. Maybe you should wait a few weeks before you start accusing people. That was the first time she suggested grief had made me unable to understand my own life. I had spent years watching other women at the library get talked over by husbands, doctors, and relatives. I had seen older patrons come in embarrassed because someone had changed the password to their email. I had helped women print bank statements because their children had told them it was too complicated to handle money anymore. I always hated the look in their eyes, the look that said they knew something was wrong. But everyone around them was acting as if their fear was proof they could not be trusted. I felt that look settling over me, and I hated it. I am grieving, I told Donna. That doesn't mean I don't know what belongs to me. She hung up. That afternoon, I called the Bureau of Motor Vehicles office in Willow Creek. The woman who answered was patient, but careful. She could not tell me much over the phone. But she confirmed what I already believed. The truck title was in Williams and my names, with rights of survivorship. After Williams' death certificate was filed, ownership would pass to me, not to Donna. Not because she said he had made a promise, not because she had a spare key, not because she had driven away before I could find my footing. I wrote down the name of the clerk and the date of the call. Then I wrote down the time Donna had arrived, the words she used, and the fact that she had taken the truck without my permission. It felt strange at first, putting my sister's actions into a notebook, as if I were documenting a storm. But William had taught me something over all those years. When life becomes confusing, if you do not make it clearer by pretending it is not happening, you write things down. You keep receipts. You tell the truth in the order it happened. The next morning, I went out to the garage. William's workshop still smelled like cedar shavings, motor oil, and the peppermint gum he kept in a red tin beside the vise. I had avoided the room since he died. The silence in there was different from the silence in the house. It was a working silence. A silence that expected him to come back any minute and finish what he had started. His metal filing cabinet stood against the far wall. The top drawer held appliance manuals, property tax notices, and old insurance policies. The second drawer held truck records. I found the maintenance folder within minutes. Every receipt was there, sorted by date. Oil changes, tir rotation, brake work, registration renewals, insurance payments. And there, clipped to the front of the folder, was a note in William's handwriting. Truck title update after spring service. I read it 3 times. There was no date beneath it. No explanation. Just that sentence, written in blue ink. I sat down on his old shop stool. William had been sick for nearly a year before he died. Not helpless, not confused, but tired in a way he tried to hide from me. The cancer treatment had taken more out of him than either of us wanted to admit. Even on his difficult days, he would make lists. Things to fix. Things to pay. Things to tell me. I had found a few of those lists after the funeral. One was taped inside the pantry door. Call roof company. Replace porch bulb. Tell Rebecca where the warranty papers are. The thought that he may have planned something for the truck and that Donna knew about it before I did made my stomach tighten. I called the mechanic William had trusted for years. Caleb Monroe ran Monroe Auto Service on the edge of town. He had worked on our vehicles since his father owned the place. He was in his early 40s. Quiet. Practical. And the kind of man who never told a customer they needed work they did not need. Mrs. Clark, he said when he answered. I'm sorry again about William. He was a good man. Thank you. Caleb, I need to ask you something. Did William schedule service for the truck before he passed? There was a brief pause. He did. Yes. What kind of service? Spring inspection. Flouts. Brakes. Tir. He wanted me to look at the transmission line, too. Did he say why? He said he wanted it in good shape. That answer could have meant anything. He didn't say who it was for? Caleb's voice became cautious. No. Mom. And I wouldn't want to guess. I understand. Then I asked the question that had been building inside me since Donna left my driveway. Donna brought the truck to you? She did. Yesterday afternoon. My fingers tightened around the phone. What did she say? She said it was hers now, and that William always wanted her to have it. There was no accusation in Caleb's voice. That made it worse somehow. And you believed her? I didn't need to believe anything. Mrs. Clark. I just serviced the vehicle. I looked down at William's maintenance folder on my kitchen table. Did she pay? She used a card, but there's something else. My breath caught. Caleb cleared his throat. During the inspection, one of my guys noticed the glove compartment wasn't sitting right. The back panel had come loose. There was an envelope tucked behind it. I closed my eyes. William had hidden important things in strange places all his life. Cash for a family emergency inside an old coffee can. The title to our first house behind a loose baseboard until we got a fireproof box. A list of alarm codes beneath the bottom drawer of his tool chest. What was in the envelope? I asked. I haven't opened it, Caleb said. Not fully. But the envelope has your name on it. And there's a note on the outside that says, "For Rebecca, if needed." The room seemed to tilt. I pressed one hand flat against the table. Did Donna see it? Caleb was silent for a moment. She was standing there when it was found. And? She said it was probably nothing. She told my technician to throw it away with the old paperwork. My heart began to pound so hard I could feel it in my throat. But you didn't. No. Mom. Why? His answer came quietly. Because William asked me once, a few months ago, to make sure you got anything he left in that truck. I didn't know what he meant at the time. I stared at the rain moving down my kitchen window. For the first time since Donna drove away, my grief made room for something else. Not anger. Not yet. Clarity. Caleb. I said. Please don't give that envelope to anyone. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hesitated. There's one more thing. Mrs. Clark. What is it? The envelope is still sealed. But when my technician picked it up, a smaller paper slipped out from behind it. I could hear papers shifting on his desk. It looks like a handwritten service log. Dates. Mileage. Payments. Your husband wrote a note across the top. What does it say? Caleb took a breath. Then, he read the words that made my hands go cold. If Donna says I gave her this truck, ask her why she needed the title before I was gone. For a few seconds, I could not answer Caleb. I kept hearing the sentence in my mind. If Donna says I gave her this truck, ask her why she needed the title before I was gone. It was not the kind of thing William would have written lightly. He was not a man who enjoyed suspicion. He believed in giving people room to explain themselves, even when someone disappointed him. He tried to find a reason before he found blame. So if he had written those words down, he had been worried long before I understood there was anything to worry about. I'm coming now, I finally said. Caleb gave me the address of the service bay where the truck was parked, though I could have found it with my eyes closed. Monroe Auto Service sat just beyond the railroad crossing, in a low brick building with faded white lettering above the garage doors. William had brought every car we ever owned there. When I arrived, Caleb was waiting near the office entrance. The rain had slowed to a mist, and the blue Ford sat inside the third bay with its hood raised. Seeing it there made my knees weak. William's jacket was still visible through the driver's side window. His work gloves rested on the dashboard. Donna had taken the truck, but she had not yet managed to erase him from it. Caleb led me into the office. On the counter sat a brown business envelope, worn at the corners and sealed with a strip of clear tape. My name was written across the front in William's blocky handwriting. Rebecca, if needed. I touched the envelope but did not open it. My hands were trembling. Caleb noticed. "Would you like to sit down?" he asked. I nodded, and he pulled out a chair beside his desk. There are some moments when you think you are prepared for bad news because you have already survived something worse. I had buried my husband 3 days earlier. I had stood beside his grave while the minister spoke about peace and eternal rest. I had accepted casseroles from women I barely knew. I had told everyone I was all right because I did not know what else to say. But sitting in that little mechanic's office, with William's handwriting in front of me, I felt more afraid than I had at the funeral. At least death had not lied to me. Donna had. Caleb placed the smaller paper beside the envelope. It was a folded service log from the truck, the same kind William kept in his workshop. He had written dates, mileage, costs, and notes about things that needed attention. March 14, replaced front brake pads. April 2, Rebecca paid insurance renewal. May 9, transmission line checked. Asked Caleb to watch for leak. June 18, Donna asked again about title. Told her no. Rebecca decides. Not me. I read that last line twice. Then a third time. The ink was faded but clear. Donna asked again about title. Not whether she could borrow the truck. Not whether she could use it while her car was broken down. The title. My stomach tightened so hard I had to press my hand against it. Did William ever mention that to you? I asked Caleb. Caleb looked down at the desk before answering. Not directly, but he came in near the end of June. He was tired that day. More tired than I'd ever seen him. He asked whether a person could transfer a title without the other owner being there. I felt the room go still around me. What did you tell him? That if both names were on the title? It depended on how it was titled. I told him he needed to speak with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles or an attorney before signing anything. Did Donna come with him? No. He was alone. I looked at the line again. Told her no. Rebecca decides. Not me. William had not promised her the truck. He had told her the exact opposite. Caleb slid the sealed envelope closer to me. Mrs. Clark, I think you should open that with someone you trust. Maybe a lawyer. That was sensible. It was also hard to hear. I had spent most of my adult life believing family problems belonged inside the family. You sat at a kitchen table. You spoke honestly. You gave people a chance to explain. You did not bring in strangers unless you absolutely had to. But Donna had already taken the truck. She had already told Caleb it belonged to her. And she had apparently tried to get William to transfer the title while he was sick. This was no longer a misunderstanding waiting to be cleared up over coffee. This was something I needed to understand before it grew teeth. Can I take the envelope? I asked. Caleb nodded. It has your name on it. Then he looked toward the garage bay. One thing, though. Donna has called twice this morning, asking when the truck would be ready. I felt a flicker of panic. Can you keep it here? I can tell her the service is still being completed until you get advice. But I can't hold it forever without a legal reason. I understand. She may come down here, he said gently. She can come. I did not say it bravely. I said it because I was beginning to understand that hiding from Donna would not make her less determined. I drove home with the envelope on the passenger seat of my car. At every red light, I looked at it. At every turn, I imagined opening it, but I waited. William had always told me that rushing was how people made mistakes they later had to live with. When we bought our first house, I wanted to sign the papers quickly because I was afraid someone else would buy it. William read every page anyway. When I complained that it was taking too long, he smiled and said, "The signature takes 10 seconds. Living with it can take 30 years. I thought about that as I pulled into my driveway. Then I called an attorney. Her name was Dana Price. She had helped William and me update our wills 6 years earlier. After he had his first heart procedure, Dana was younger than I expected when we first met her. Probably in her early 40s. But she had a way of making you feel as though your questions were sensible, even when you were embarrassed to ask them. Her receptionist gave me an appointment for that afternoon. Before I left, I went into William's workshop again. This time, I did not sit down and let the room overwhelm me. I brought my notebook. I opened the filing cabinet. I took photographs of the maintenance folder and every note related to the truck. I found the insurance policy, the registration renewal notice, and a copy of the title information William had printed from the BMV website. Then I found something that made me stop. At the very back of the second drawer was an empty manila folder labeled F-150 title, original. The folder was empty. I stood there for a long time. The original title should have been inside. William was careful about documents. He kept the deed to our home in a locked firebox. He kept tax records for 7 years. He labeled every folder with a black marker in handwriting, so neat it looked almost printed. He would not have misplaced the truck title, and I had never taken it out. I opened the drawer above it, then the drawer below. I checked the desk, the metal box on his workbench, the firebox in the closet, and every envelope in the filing cabinet. Nothing. The original title was gone. For the first time, I said the words aloud. Donna took it. Saying it made me feel disloyal. Donna was my younger sister. I had helped raise her in some ways, after our mother went back to work nights at the nursing home. I had braided her hair before school when she was little. I had sat in the front row at her high school graduation. When she got divorced, she spent months on my couch, crying into the same yellow blanket she had used as a teenager. I had loved her for so long that my heart kept looking for another explanation. Maybe William had moved the title. Maybe he had given it to Dana. Maybe Donna had borrowed it for something innocent. But the maintenance log sat in my purse. Donna asked again about title. Told her no. Rebecca decides. Not me. By the time I got to Dana Price's office, I had stopped asking myself whether I was being unfair. I was asking what Donna had planned to do next. Dana listened without interrupting. I told her about the funeral, the spare key, the way Donna had driven off. The phone call where she suggested grief had made me confused. I showed her the service log, the note on the sealed envelope, and the empty title folder I had photographed. Dana did not rush me. When I finished, she folded her hands on her desk. Rebecca, she said, I'm very sorry you're dealing with this so soon after losing William. The kindness in her voice nearly made me cry. But I had cried enough in the past week. I wanted answers. Can she keep the truck? I asked. Not based on what you've told me. A verbal statement that William might have given her the truck is not the same as a completed transfer. We need to verify the title record, confirm whether any paperwork has been filed, and document that you did not consent to her taking it. She has the original title. Possibly, Dana said. But having a document and having the legal right to use it are two different things. That sentence settled something inside me. Donna had spent days acting as if possession made her right. The key, the truck, the story she told everyone. But facts did not become true just because the loudest person repeated them. Dana asked if I wanted to open the envelope with her present. I nodded. She put on a pair of thin reading glasses, and I carefully peeled back the tape. Inside was a handwritten letter, 3 pages long, folded around a small packet of documents. The first page began, Rebecca. If you are reading this, it means I did not get enough time to explain something I should have told you myself. My throat closed. I had to stop for a moment before I could continue. Dana waited quietly. William's handwriting was steady, though I could see a slight tremble in a few letters near the bottom of the page. He wrote that Donna had come to him twice during the last months of his illness, asking him to sign the truck over to her. The first time, she said it would help her refinance her car loan. The second time, she said she needed something in her name because she was trying to qualify for an apartment. William wrote that he had told her he would not make any decisions about the truck without me. Then he wrote something that hurt more than I expected. Donna got angry. Said I did not need 2 vehicles. Said I was likely to sell the truck anyway. Said I would not understand what it meant to be trapped. William wrote that he had reminded her that I had worked for everything I owned. Just as he had. He wrote that Donna left his hospital room without saying goodbye. At the bottom of the letter, he had added, I do not know what she will tell you after I am gone. I pray I am wrong to worry. But if she pressures you, do not mistake guilt for obligation. You do not owe anyone what we built, unless you freely choose to give it. I pressed my fingertips to the paper. For a long time, neither Dana nor I spoke. Then she opened the small packet of documents. There were copies of 2 text message exchanges between William and Donna. One was dated 3 months before he died. Donna, I need the title. You promised I could use it. William, I did not promise you the truck. Donna, I said I would help you find a solution. Donna, Rebecca will just let it rot in the driveway. William, it is Rebecca's decision when the time comes. The second exchange was shorter. Donna, sign it while you're still able. William, no. Donna, you don't want me ending up with nothing. William, I do not want Rebecca pressured after I'm gone. I covered my mouth. I had never seen those messages. Dana read them once, then placed them beside the letter. This is important, she said. It helps establish that William did not intend to transfer the truck to Donna and that he anticipated she might pressure you. What do I do now? First, we contact the BMV and find out if a title transfer or replacement title application has been submitted. Then we send Donna a formal demand for the truck and any original title documents she has. A formelle demande. Yes. The word sounded so official, so final. I stared down at William's letter. I don't want to destroy my sister, I whispered. Dana's expression softened. Protecting yourself is not destroying someone else. Rebecca. Donna's choices are her responsibility. It was one of those simple truths that takes a lifetime to learn. Dana made a call to the BMV while I sat across from her desk, holding the letter in both hands. Because she was my attorney, and I had signed the necessary paperwork, the office agreed to review the vehicle record and send a written confirmation. They could not tell us everything over the phone, but the clerk confirmed that the truck was still registered under William and me. No completed transfer had been processed. Then the clerk said something else. There was a request for a replacement title filed 8 days ago, she told Dana. Dana looked up sharply. 8 days ago? She repeated. William had still been alive 8 days ago. He had been in hospice care in our living room, barely able to stay awake for more than a few minutes at a time. Dana asked whether the request had been approved. The clerk said no. The application had been flagged because the signature did not match the signature on file, and the required notarization information was incomplete. My heart began to beat faster. Can you tell us who submitted it? Dana asked. There was another pause. Then the clerk said, the applicant listed is Donna Ellis. I stared at the rain-dark window beside Dana's desk. Donna had not waited until after William died to claim that truck. She had tried to take it while he was still alive. Dana wrote down the reference number, the date, and the name of the clerk. Then she ended the call and looked directly at me. "We need to move quickly now," she said. "Why?" "Because if Donna has the original title, she may try another route. She may attempt to sell the truck, use it as collateral, or submit different paperwork somewhere else." I felt cold all over. "What can we do?" Dana began making a list. We would send a written notice to Donna that same day. We would tell her she had no permission to keep, sell, alter, or transfer the truck. We would demand that she return the vehicle and any title documents by noon the next day. We would also ask the BMV to place an alert on the vehicle record. None of it meant the problem would disappear, but it meant Donna could no longer pretend there had been no objection. No more quiet theft hidden beneath family language. No more letting her tell the story first. Dana printed the letter, read it aloud to me, and asked if I understood every part. I did. My hand shook when I signed it, but I signed it anyway. That evening, Dana sent the notice by certified mail and by email. She also texted Donna a brief message from my phone. At my request, "Donna, I have spoken with an attorney. The truck was not given to you. You must return it, and all title documents by noon tomorrow. Do not sell, transfer, or remove anything from it." Donna responded less than 2 minutes later. I expected anger. I expected denial. Instead, she wrote, "You have no idea what William told me. You're letting strangers turn you against your own family." Then, before I could reply, another message appeared. And when I read it, I understood that Donna was not planning to return the truck at all. She was planning to make sure there was nothing left for me to get back. For a moment, I stared at Donna's message and could not understand it. There would be nothing left for me to get back. The words sat on my screen like a threat disguised as confidence. Dana read them over my shoulder. She did not react dramatically. She simply reached for her legal pad and wrote down the time. "Do not answer emotionally," she said. "I don't know how else to answer. You answer clearly." She dictated while I typed. "Donna, this message has been preserved. You have been formally notified that you do not have permission to possess, sell, transfer, dismantle, or remove items from the Ford F-150. Return the truck, the keys, and all title documents by noon tomorrow as demanded." Donna did not respond. The next morning, she did not return the truck. At 11:30, Dana called her. It went to voicemail. At 11:45, Dana sent another message, confirming that the deadline remained noon. At 12:07, she received a reply. "I'm not playing your little games. William wanted me to have it. You're just bitter because he trusted me more than you." I read that message 3 times. Then I set my phone face down on the kitchen table. There is a kind of pain that does not feel like anger at first. It feels like someone has reached into your memories and dirtied them. Donna was using William against me. She was taking the love he had given both of us, twisting it into a weapon, and hoping I was too heartbroken to fight back. But she had forgotten something. William had left me the truth in his own handwriting, and I was finally ready to use it. Dana filed a report with the Willow Creek Police Department that afternoon. She was careful with her language. She did not claim that Donna had been convicted of anything. She told the officer that I was the surviving owner, listed on the vehicle record, that Donna had taken the truck without my consent, and that there was evidence she had attempted to obtain a replacement title before William died. The officer who came to my home was named Marcus Hale. He was calm, respectful, and old enough that he did not speak to me as though I had wandered into a problem I could not understand. He sat at my kitchen table while I showed him the documents. William's letter, the maintenance log, the text messages, the BMV reference number, the empty title folder, Donna's message. He read each page slowly. When he finished, he looked at me. Mrs. Clark, I can see why you're concerned, he said. At this point, the title record identifies you as the lawful surviving owner. We can contact your sister and ask her to return the vehicle. The BMV issue and any signature concerns may also need to be reviewed by their investigations unit. Can you make her bring it back? If she refuses after being advised of the ownership record, that refusal becomes important. But I don't want to promise you an outcome before we have all the facts. It was not the answer I wanted, but it was honest. And after days of Donna's lies, honesty felt like something solid. Officer Hale called her from my kitchen. I could not hear every word, only his side of the conversation. Yes, Mom. No, this is not a family mediation call. Yes, I understand that is your position. The vehicle record does not show a transfer. Ma'am, I need you to listen carefully. Then he paused. His expression changed. Not much, but enough. Where's the truck right now? He asked. He listened. I see. When he ended the call, he did not immediately speak. My stomach dropped. What did she say? I asked. She says the truck is at a private repair yard outside town. Why? She says the engine was making noise, and she had it checked. That truck was just serviced. I know, he said. Dana and I exchanged a look. Officer Hale wrote down the name of the repair yard. It was a place I had never heard of, out near the industrial strip, beyond Route 36. Then he made another call, while standing by the window. A few minutes later, he came back to the table. The owner says the truck arrived late last night. He told us. He says Donna asked for an estimate on removing some equipment and replacing the door locks. I felt the blood drain from my face. Removing what equipment? He didn't say. But I knew. William's tool chest. His emergency kit. The old radio he had repaired twice because he liked listening to baseball games while he worked. The canvas jacket folded behind the seat. All the small things Donna could remove, and later claim were never there. All the proof that the truck belonged to a life she had no right to rewrite. Dana stood up. We need to go there, she said. Officer Hale told us he would meet us at the repair yard. He did not promise that he could search anything or seize anything without the proper grounds, but he said he could speak with the owner, observe the situation, and make sure there was no confrontation. I drove behind Dana's car through streets. I had traveled 100 times with William. Past the grocery store where he always bought too many oranges. Past the library where I had worked for 27 years. Past the little diner where we celebrated our anniversary every October. Even after the food became too salty and the booths became too narrow. The farther we drove, the more I understood that this was not only about a truck, it was about whether I would allow grief to turn me into someone easy to take from. The repair yard was a gravel lot, surrounded by chain-link fencing. There were rusted cars near the back, a broken sign above the office, and a row of trucks parked beside an open garage. I saw William's Ford immediately. The hood was closed. The truck was still blue, but the bed was open, and several things had been pulled out and stacked against the wall. His tool chest, his tie-down straps, the red emergency bag I had packed after his heart surgery, and his canvas jacket. It lay on top of a cardboard box like it was nothing. I opened my car door before Dana could stop me. Rebecca, she called, but I was already walking. Donna stood near the truck, speaking to a man in a stained work shirt. She was wearing jeans and a bright red blouse, her arms crossed, as if she owned the entire place. When she saw me, she did not look surprised. That hurt, too. She had expected me to come. She had expected me to beg. Instead, I walked straight to the truck bed and picked up William's jacket. It still smelled faintly, like cedar and motor oil. Donna sighed. Here we go. I held the jacket against my chest and looked at her. You were taking his things out? I was cleaning it. You were changing the locks. The locks are old. You brought it here after I told you it was not yours. Donna shook her head and looked toward the repair yard owner, as if asking him to witness how unreasonable I was being. Rebecca, please stop acting like I stole a car. You took it from my driveway. William gave it to me. No, I said. He did not? For the first time, uncertainty crossed her face. Then Officer Hale stepped through the gate. Donna's expression tightened. He introduced himself to the repair yard owner and asked a few questions. The man, whose name was Derek, looked uncomfortable. He explained that Donna had told him the truck was hers and that she wanted to know how much it would cost to remove the tool chest, replace the locks, and prepare it for sale. Prepare it for sale. The words hit me harder than I expected. Donna had not planned to drive the truck to work. She had not planned to keep a piece of her brother close. She had planned to sell it. Officer Hale asked if any work had been done. Derek shook his head. No. I gave her an estimate. I said I needed proof of ownership before I touched the title or did anything involving a sale. Donna turned toward him sharply. You never said that. Derek looked at the officer. I said I needed paperwork. That's standard. Officer Hale asked whether Donna had shown him a title. Derek hesitated. Then he walked into the office and returned with a folder. She gave me a copy of this, he said. Inside was a photocopy of what appeared to be a title transfer form. At the bottom was William's name, except it was not his signature. I had seen William sign his name thousands of times. On birthday cards, checks, church directories, tax returns, and the little notes he left beside the coffee maker. This signature was slow and uneven. The letters leaned in the wrong direction. The W was too narrow. The final M had a sharp hook that William never made. It was an imitation. A bad one? Dana quietly took a photograph of the document, then gave it back to Officer Hale. Donna's face had gone pale. You don't know that isn't his signature, she said. I looked at her. No, I said softly. I know. She laughed once, but there was no humor in it. You always thought you knew everything about him. That was when I finally understood the wound beneath her greed. Donna had spent years believing William had chosen me over her. Maybe she had resented that he called me first when he was sick. Maybe she hated that our house was stable while her life had fallen apart. Maybe every act of kindness he gave her had felt, to her, like proof that she deserved more. But none of that made this right. You were his sister? I told her. He loved you, but love did not give you permission to take from me. Donna's eyes filled with tears. For 1 second, I almost reached for her. Then she said, You have the house? You have the savings. You had him. I needed something. The honesty of it was uglier than any lie she had told. I felt grief for her then. Not enough to excuse her, but enough to understand that she had been drowning in envy for so long. She had started calling it need. Officer Hale explained that the title form would be documented. He told Donna that the matter involving the replacement title application and the signature would be referred for review. He also told her that, based on the existing vehicle record and the lack of a completed transfer, she needed to surrender the truck and every document connected to it. Donna looked at Dana. Can she really do this to me? Dana did not raise her voice. Rebecca's not doing this to you, she said. You made choices. Those choices have consequences. Donna's mouth trembled. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a ring of keys. She dropped them into my open hand. The sound they made was small, but it felt like a door closing. Officer Hale asked her about the original title. At first, she claimed she did not have it. Then he reminded her that the replacement title application listed an existing title number and that withholding documents after a formal demand could create additional problems. Donna looked at the gravel beneath her shoes. Finally, she admitted the title was in a locked drawer at her apartment. She had taken it from William's workshop 2 weeks before he died. 2 weeks. While I was measuring medication into a cup beside William's bed. While I was washing his sheets. While I was trying to make his last days peaceful. Donna had come into my house, opened his filing cabinet, and taken the document she thought would give her control. Officer Hale arranged for her to retrieve it and surrender it through the department. Dana later received a copy of the property receipt. The truck came home that evening. Caleb helped me inspect it before I drove it away. Nothing mechanical had been changed, but Donna had removed the tool chest from the bed. Derek gave it back after Officer Hale confirmed it was part of the property taken from my vehicle. Every tool was still inside. William's socket set, his flashlight, the worn measuring tape with his initials written in marker, and beneath the top tray, tucked into a small plastic sleeve, was one last note. This one was dated only a week before William died. It said, "Truck stays with Rebecca. Unless Rebecca chooses otherwise. She has carried enough. Do not let anyone make her feel selfish for keeping what is hers." I sat in the driver's seat with that note in my lap and cried. Not because I was weak. Not because I needed William to fight my battles for me. I cried because he had known me so well. He knew I would be tempted to give in, just to stop the conflict. He knew I would confuse peace with surrender. He knew I might feel guilty for protecting what we had built. So he had left me permission. Permission to stand up. Permission to say no. Permission to keep what was mine. The investigation into the title application did not end overnight. Dana explained every step to me. The BMV referred the matter to its investigations office, and Officer Hale documented the forged paperwork and Donna's possession of the original title. I did not sit in court the next day and watch everything resolve neatly. Real life is slower than that. But the evidence was no longer buried in a glove compartment or hidden in a workshop drawer. It was preserved. It was dated. It was documented. And Donna could no longer make me doubt what I had seen with my own eyes. A few weeks later, through her attorney, Donna agreed to a civil settlement. She returned the original title, signed a written acknowledgement that she had no ownership interest in the truck, and reimbursed me for the attorney's fees connected to recovering it. The investigation related to the false title paperwork remained with the proper authorities. I did not celebrate that. I had never wanted my sister punished. I had wanted her to stop. There is a difference. Donna sent me one letter after that. It was 4 pages long. She wrote about debt, shame, and how frightened she had been after losing her apartment deposit. She wrote that she had convinced herself the truck was the one thing William would have wanted her to have. But the letter also included an apology. Not a perfect one. Not one that erased anything. She said she was sorry for taking advantage of my grief. She said she was sorry for lying about William. She said she was sorry for making me feel as if I had to prove I was allowed to keep the life I had built with my husband. I read the letter once. Then I put it away. I did not call her immediately. I did not invite her over for Sunday dinner. I did not pretend that forgiveness meant everything could go back to the way it was. Instead, I wrote her a short reply. I hope you get the help you need. I hope you build a life you can be proud of. But until trust is earned again, you will not have access to my home, my documents, my finances, or my property. I love you enough to tell you the truth. I love myself enough to keep this boundary. I mailed it the next morning. By spring, I had the truck serviced again at Monroe Auto Service. Caleb changed the oil, rotated the tires, and fixed the passenger door so it no longer stuck in damp weather. He asked whether I wanted to sell it now that everything had been settled. I looked through the office window at that old blue Ford. For the first time in months, I smiled. "No," I said. "I think I'm going to keep it." A week later, I drove it to the hardware store myself. I bought a new porch light, a bag of potting soil, and a small blue hydrangea for the front yard. When I came home, I parked beneath the oak tree where William always parked it. Then I carried the flower to the porch and set it beside the steps. The house was still quiet. I still missed him every day. But the quiet no longer felt like an empty place someone else could enter and take from me. It felt like mine. And so did the truck. If this story reminded you that love should never require you to surrender your dignity, please like this video, subscribe to Truth and Dignity Stories, and share it with someone who needs the courage to set a boundary. And tell me in the comments, what is one thing you would protect, no matter who tried to make you feel guilty for keeping it?